Welcome to another episode of DD on the Spot. And I'm not even going to do introductions now because Jessica's this is what her third time on the podcast now. And once you get to the third time, you don't even really need an introduction. She's on here to just give us an update on what she's been up to and everything. She is cooking a pizza right now, everyone. So if you hear a dinger in the background, buyer beware. And she has a dog right below her and a cat right behind her. God forbid. I mean, she's already hit the trifecta. Basically, we're not even a minute into this podcast. But Jessica, thank you so much for coming back on.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me for the third time, trifecta.
Well, I got to ask, what's the cat's name and what's the dog's name?
The dog's name is Taco Bell, and the cat's name is Gia.
Why didn't you go for like McDonald's or Burger King for like the cat's name?
Well, because I let someone else name her, so they were like, yeah.
Hey, more power to you. Ours is just Gracie. It was either going to be Gracie or Miley for our dog that we were thinking of. And I was like, I don't want to name a dog that I'll think about Miley Cyrus every time I think about the dog then with a name like Miley. So we had to go with Gracie. But I mean, it's been over a year. We had you on, I think last May was what we had you on. And before we get into the nitty gritty of it, yeah, why don't you just give us an update on what your life has been up to over the last year since we had you on?
Yeah, it's been a year, so I graduated college. And I moved to Dallas, Texas, and definitely out of my comfort zone. And I work up at AFS Premier Fitness, so I'm under Sarah Villegas, Miss Olympia, 2 times consecutive, going for the third this year, and my boss Ali. So I've been training personal training. I've been working my ass off the past 4 months. Going to glide into a prep around December, and make the most of it. I'm really just making the most of life. It was kind of tough to adjust, of course, to a new city, but I'm here for the ups and the obstacles. It makes everything worth it in the end.
Good old Jessica. I always got to edit these things out because she just can't keep that potty mouth out of it. But hey, I like it. It's great.
Oh, that's right.
No, don't worry at all. I'm making a swear compilation, and you're gonna be a big part of it. It's already 10 and a half minutes long of just people swearing, and it's just the swear words. So that's how much I've had to deal with, throughout all the years of doing this. But I mean, yeah, you graduated, you moved out, and you did all that. That is awesome. But one thing that I want to talk to you about before we get into the things, I saw on one of your stories you went to Mexico for a vacation. I don't know what you were in Mexico for. You showed one of those GNC shops and they are selling everything out of the wazoo. I didn't even know that was legal.
That's not even a big deal over there. I mean, you can get drugs off the handle over the counter there. Now, in comparison to quality, to here, never tried, I wouldn't know. But from what I hear, once you cross the border of Mexico, there's really this place, like a street where you're able to get all your, medicine and come back, and it's cheap and it works. So, yeah, I was pretty surprised and also tempted, but I was like, I'm on a family vacation right now. Okay, so I was kind of limited in my ability to do anything, and I think I would have been a little skeptical anyway. But yeah, so that was cool.
Yeah, I messaged her and I was like, get me if they have any like gorilla testosterone or something like that, asking for a friend. But I was just so surprised because they had a list of everything that they have outside the store, and it's like you would get arrested and put in jail for life if you were in the States doing that, basically.
Exactly. The only thing, well, they sell marijuana and stuff on the streets. It's a very open country. I mean, it is what it is, and I don't know if that's more of a problem or not. But yeah, if you want some gear, or if you want some Viagra or something like Adderall or what are they like Xanax or Ritalin, stuff like that. If you want some, go on over to Mexico and get you some, boo.
Hey, you heard it from her, not from me, everyone. So there's that. I mean, hey, marijuana is still illegal here in Minnesota, as unfortunate as that is. So they just ironically passed the medical marijuana thing, but that's about it. So we're probably gonna have to wait a little bit longer for that. But
more progress in Texas, so
that's something that I never thought I'd ever say or hear myself. So, hey, that's just the way things are right now. But what has this been like, this whole life adjustment that you've done where, you've moved and you've gotten a new job and everything? What has that been like for your bodybuilding journey? Has it made things easier? Has it made them harder? Or where's it fall on that?
I mean, especially with the new job, I started cutting really in May for the trip, and then I just kind of didn't stop because I want to glide into a show. So being around, a bunch of people who have the same pretty much exact lifestyle and understand, training, understand resting, understand food, and eating, and it not being so weird or taboo. is really great for the journey. And, the fact that I have a gym and a facility I can use with really good equipment is nice. Um, I also have a good coach. His name is Jay. Team Cobra. We have like 128, 129 overall wins, and he's been doing a really good job prepping me through this.
That is great. And I mean, you took a break also from Instagram, I saw, where you didn't really post anything for like a month. I wish I could do that and just like log off from social media. How was that? Did you enjoy it?
Yeah, I didn't even think about Instagram for like a month. Like, I don't. It's Instagram is cool. I really just want to go on there to continue like chatting with people that I start to miss people, but overall, I didn't think about Instagram at all. And I probably still will be limiting the amount I'm on just because I really don't see, unless you're making money, a ton of purpose in it. I think it's good for motivation and outlet, but yeah, I couldn't really give a shit about Instagram.
Same here. If it wasn't to like promote my stuff that I do, that's the only reason I ever use it. And I'm only on there for probably like 15 minutes a day at the most, really just updating stuff and doing that. So, and it's the main mode that I use to communicate with some of the guests and stuff like that. So I use that as well. So it's probably actually like in 45 minutes that I'm probably on there like a day. But yeah, I wish I could take that break. That would be so great. But
Well, it's like a it's like a business platform.
yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I know a lot of people that they make a lot of money doing it too. But so
Mhm.
good for them. But how has this current prep been different from all the other preps that you've been on?
Mm. Well, I'm having pizza right now. I'm 16 weeks out. I'm at like 9-10% body fat. So what's different is my first prep, I was about 12 weeks out. I was decently lean. Could have done better in my regimen. Could have showed up leaner, even though I got first place. That was awesome. Second prep last year, or I guess technically third prep because I did the summer shredding. I mean, each prep gets better, but last summer I competed, I was like at 7.5, 8 weeks out. I was not in good condition. I was like, I just want to do this. I want to do this so badly. And I got like third in my class. It was a really underwhelming experience for me, and I expected much more myself. And I think, you can't blame it all on a coach, but I think there's definitely like, you know, a way to connect with another person that like helps you move forward. And yeah, so now this prep is like I'm 16 weeks out and I'm in better condition than I was almost, 4 weeks out from that show. And I'm just gonna keep riding into it. And once I get closer to the show, 8 weeks out is I think when you really need to turn up the volume a little bit, and I'll start cutting things out because right now I'm at the point where I'm lean enough and far enough out to where my coach will like add food too. I mean, 4 months, so it's just a lot more smooth mentally, physically, and even emotionally a little bit, I guess.
You haven't gotten to the dog days of cardio yet?
Mm. I've been doing cardio 6 days a week since May for 45 minutes. So cardio is just like an autopilot thing for me. I feel better. I'm hungrier when I do cardio. I feel leaner. I feel better. So cardio is not too bad for me. I think a lot of people dread cardio, but for me, it's just another like part of the process.
I still try to get my 10,000 steps in at least 5 or 6 of the days of the week, and then I'll take like a day off or something like that. So I still personally do that myself. But being that you're now, you're working with clients and you're being a trainer, has that influenced your own journey at all? Or is it just one of those things where you're just able to separate, the job from your life? Or has it really been where like you pick up so much just from teaching other people that stuff that you can apply to yourself?
Um, well, yeah, definitely. Like these people are following a specific diet code, so you want to be a good influence, and you go home after a day of training six different people who are like really working at this and making really good progress, and you're like, you feel influenced. Like if they can do it, I can do it. I don't know if you've ever seen the show Fit to Fat to Fit, where trainers basically go with their clients and they gain like 60 pounds. And then they see the client, about 4 months later after they gained it and they lose all the weight together. And that's sort of how I feel in this. It's like, I know you're having maybe one or two carbs a day. I can do this too. So of course, yeah, like personal training, although it may not, doesn't have necessarily like benefits or like a salary per se. It's more fulfilling than, other prior jobs that I've just worked. So
I gotta play devil's advocate. Would you ever purposely put on 60 pounds just to lose it with someone?
I think if it was,
If you offered me
well,
a certain amount of money, I would. But other than that, no.
exactly, like, these people are on a television show. Like, they're getting something out of it. First of all, they're getting their name out there because millions of people are watching this, and then I'm sure they get some type of monetary gain from it. So, when it comes down to it, would I do it for free and just like, a total intrinsic value type? Hell no. But if someone, were to put me on the line like that, yeah, I think I would. And it would probably be life changing. Most people, like, their lives are changed afterwards. So
I think I remember reading a book or hearing about a book where a guy did that exact thing, where then he wrote about like how he went from like from being like really in shape to like severely obese, and then he just went back just so he could write a book about it. So yeah, unless you can really make something out of it, yeah, I honestly have no interest in that, myself. But what is your favorite thing about being a personal trainer, and what is your least favorite thing about being a personal trainer?
mm, favorite thing about being a personal trainer is watching these people express themselves and really get into training. Really just being in the present moment and, like, watching them transform. Each movement, they're getting better. So, that's what I mean by fulfilling is, it's not like the people are angry at you and they're calling you upset or something like that and you gotta deal with it. It's, like, service oriented that's mutually beneficial. Worst thing about personal training is the hours because you train, in the morning time, and then there's a big break during the day because people go to work, and then you have the end of the day, which doesn't sound bad, but I live like 25 minutes away from my work. So that would be there, then back, then there again, then back 25. So I take a pillow in my car and I sleep in my car. Like, I'll work out during those hours. Just depends kind of how my day is going. So I'd say that's the harder part.
Have you ever thought about maybe a closer gym?
Or you mean like moving closer to the gym I work
Either
at?
that or just getting a gym that's closer. I mean, I worked one job
No,
where I was driving half an hour there, and I like it was horrible. I hated it.
I wouldn't deviate away from the job I have now, but I would move closer. I'm just waiting for this lease to be over, which is in December, and then yeah, of course I'll move closer. But the worst part about it is I got to keep my car on and the AC running, so it wastes gas. But other than that, like, I really don't. It's kind of peaceful to sleep in the car, like in a safe place.
At least you don't have to deal with all the freakish snow. Because one time, the half an hour drive that I was driving, it took me 2.5 hours to get to my job because of the snow, and it made it like it was during like we got like probably like a foot and a half of snow in a couple of days, and it was just I had to drive in through that, and that was luckily I left like 3 hours early because I knew it was going to be super long to get there, so I got there in time. I was like the only one that got there, but yeah, that was the one day that convinced me. I was like, okay, I need to find a job that's closer to home because that is
Dude,
just
the traffic in Dallas is terrible. Like, but not compared to snow. It's just hella hot.
I could not deal with Texas during the summer. I don't know how you guys do it. It is just, I mean, it's gotten to 100, I think, 3 times this summer here in Minnesota, and those are the days where I just stay inside and don't even, really do anything. We normally, I think we're in like I know we're in like the 70s last night, but I don't know. My little brother moved out to San Diego, so he's got to rub it in every day, sending us, what the weather's gonna be like. And oh, surprise, it's 76 all day and sunny. Never heard of that one before. So
Cali.
yeah, we're gonna go visit him one of these days. I think he's coming back for Labor Day. He moved out in like June, so just making me feel bad about all the weather and all that crap. But what's one area of your body that you think you've improved on the most since we had you on last year?
My glutes. 100%. I spent so much time since 2018 when I did that figure show squatting, sumo deadlifting, sumo squat, a lot of barbell compound Olympic lift movements too, or not like cleans or anything, but more just like the very basic. For my legs, lots of hypertrophy. That was like leg extension, hamstring curls, and it took me 2 years to figure out, hey, I should probably be doing hip thrusts. I should probably be doing kickbacks. donkey kicks, like anything associated with the butt. And because I had no ass, I was like, I was like really muscular here. And then when I would lean down, it was like it looked like a piece of paper almost. Um, and so I was like, I need to grow these. So I've spent a lot of time, and my rear delts have grown. So I'd say my glutes were number one and rear delts number two.
What did you do for real adults?
For rear delts, like exercise wise, a shitload of the rear delt pectoral, like if you get on the pectoral machine, a lot of those, a lot of rear delt flies is supersets, face pulls, but really, really isolating on the pec deck for my rear delts and just training them probably like 3 times a week. They're a hard muscle to grow on me. I mean, delts in general for women are hard, but yeah, that was a harder one to grow.
Yeah, I mean, that was one of my genetic body parts that was a lot easier for me, and I think especially with a lot of women, that's what we hear a lot, that it is one of the harder things to grow with. But has your time management hopefully gotten easier now that you don't have to worry about class or anything like that, or is it still just because of the long drive and everything? Is it still just as bad?
No, it's better. Um, I just get bored sometimes. Like, I miss school, but like time management has been good. Like, I know I gotta wake up at this time, and throughout the day, like if I have to meal prep, then I'll do it on a day where I don't have a client at 7 o'clock. I have one like my last one at like 6, and that way I can get home quicker and like have an extra hour. So really the small things, and I've actually been really stable. Like I've never been late on any payments. Like I've been doing really well. I wasn't expecting to graduate college, be let off, completely from everything financially, and be able to pull myself together. I guess I was just not something I expected for myself, but yeah, I've done really well for myself.
Well, good for you, because trust me, that is not the case for everyone, and you're looking at them right there. So I'm happy to hear that for you. So that is great. But have you worked on your posing routine at all, or are you still in the off season sort of portion of it where you wait until you're a little bit closer to your show, or what has that been like?
Oh, you always work in the off season too on posing because your body, when you're leaner, you can definitely pose better. I mean, that's without a doubt because you can see everything. You're a little more mobile. You have less weight to carry around. You can breathe better. But so I did practice. I practice posing about 2 times a week. And I do miss the figure category posing bikini. You have to have a certain attitude, and so I really need to hire a posing coach to like get that down. Um, but yeah, I practice posing probably twice a week, and I've been able to hit my poses a lot better, just over time by even just practicing twice a week over the past year has, or more like I'd say probably 6 months because that's kind of when I started getting into prep, has really just transformed the way I naturally am able to do it, naturally stand in place just by looking at myself and figuring out the small details. Okay, what do I need to pop out more? My arm looks better with just a slight bend in the elbow rather than being completely straight because my shoulders. How do I hide my back just a little bit more and give me smaller up top and then larger on the bottom? How do I make my abs suck in? Because before I was like, pushing out my abs and making them into a 6 pack rather than like sucking them in and getting a tight line that doesn't necessarily show the 6 pack. And that was a huge difference in my posing as well because it creates the illusion of a much smaller waist. So there's definitely details I've been focusing on myself because posing is kind of expensive sometimes. So I'm excited to, probably around 12 weeks out is when I'll like get a posing coach and be like, hey, here's what I have so far. Give me some tips on how to be a little more expressive with my personality because to me, like, I think I'm pretty clumsy. So.
Well, at least she explained it like that, because everyone out there, I mean, I gotta explain this every single damn time. It's more than just posing that one body part or doing anything. That you gotta figure out everything, where it's, every part of your body. And good for you for only doing it like 2 times a week, where I know some of those freaks all throughout the year, they're doing it like 3 times a day, and it's like every single day, and you're just like, come on.
I mean, more power to them, like, and
Oh yeah, I mean, more power to you, because like that's the willpower that like I am jealous of and I also don't like.
yeah, well, I mean, it really is about your own body. Like somebody is going to have a completely different way that they pose than another person just because their structure is so different. One could be heavy on top or heavier on the bottom and in all categories. So, posing is, 50% of what you bring to the table. So you've really got to nail that down. And that's going to be my next challenge in this prep.
I mean, you are in the gym with Sarah, who's, a bodybuilding. I mean, she's a physique champion. How much motivation is that to be in the same gym with someone who's accomplished so much?
A lot, you're around a woman that for years and years has been able to flip the switch, present well, have a goal, grind, execute. She doesn't necessarily need music to work out. She doesn't need, it doesn't, I don't know everything that
Doesn't need music to work out. What kind of freak is this?
she's a badass. And so, watching her work out is very not only intriguing because you're like, wow, what in great condition this human being is, but also just like, I want that. I want to have that win under my belt and have the confidence with it and all the wonderful things and all the feelings you get for yourself from it. So, it's super inspiring watching her train and just watching her eat, watching her go about her daily life. I really respect Sarah.
Yeah, it's one of those things where unless you really see them in person, you don't really understand, that dedication, and it just shows on the way that they look and the way that they, present themselves. So yeah, there is that at least. But like we're talking about the heat, how are you dealing with that? Because like I said, for me personally, I don't understand that. You're just as pale as me, so I don't get how that's possible in Texas.
Look, I have a self tanner that I'm trying to use tomorrow. Okay. I just got to find a person to put it on me. Help me. You always ask about,
I always do because look at this. Look at this skin.
dude, I'm
I
super
know
white.
that's what I'm saying. So I'm saying, how are you this pale in Texas? How have you not like how are you not just either bright red or how are you like how do you
I'm not
maintain this
like
pale?
I can. Like I don't really go out too often. Like I should, but I have this spray tan or this like, rub on that I want to use. And I also like to protect my skin. So I'll never go in a tanning bed just because like I really appreciate natural sun. And I don't get how people get super burnt. Like it's like red and then white. I'm like, guys, put on sunscreen because this skin is going to last you your whole life. And you see people who have a ton of skin damage. And one, it doesn't look good on stage, doesn't look good with a tan. Okay. So it's like, I want to preserve my skin. And I don't really mind being white, most of the year if that's really what it takes. I try and take good care of my skin because I stopped Accutane, and like that was a journey. So I'm just trying to treat my skin well.
There's a family friend of ours who was, just your average typical 60s, 70s housewife, and she was outside every single day without sunscreen, just putting in the raisin. And just looking at her now, you can tell that she was out in the sun every single day of her life, basically. Just in like it's so I see that myself too. But like I'm one of those people, yeah, where I get burnt pretty damn easily. Except when I was in my playing days in sports, I normally just get the farmer's tan and stuff like that. But now it's much. I gotta ask about. I mean, that's my number one pet peeve. Like this weather right now that I have right here, where it's cloudy, that's like perfect walking weather for me because I don't have to worry about getting burnt to an absolute crisp. So when you are this pale, the sun can be not your friend.
Have you ever seen the movie The Benchwarmers?
I was just thinking about that as I was talking to you. Nick Swartzen is Howie in the Benchwarmers. Yeah.
Yes, that's what you're giving right now. You're giving Howie.
Oh, absolutely. And I'm not gonna lie, it's true. Yeah, yeah. I'll go out there with a plastic sword and just like point it out there and like try to test it. Yeah. Oh my god, that was my movie, like in middle school and stuff like that when that came out. I watched it. Being a baseball player, or we'd get together and we watch. Yeah, that was great. First of all, if I could ever play on that stadium that they built at the end of the movie, good God, that would have been perfect. But hey, we're not on a movie set, everyone. So yeah, okay. Well, our sun tangent is over, everyone. People probably sick and tired of me hearing about this, but switch skin tones with me, everyone, if you want this pale white, and then we can see what's happening. Well, Jessica, yeah, I mean, see if you can still see definition and have that type of tone, you're doing a good job too. That's the only benefit about having that skin tone. So like, yeah, if you can see that after that, that's good. So at least it's going to be good with a tan at least, because we have some people who they can be so tan, and then if you don't see any definition, you're like, okay, like, are you even trying?
Yeah, no, so like that's the thing is I got asked by the person I'm trying to have come do this for me. They're like, "Why do you want to put self tanner on?" And, I'm like, I don't want to sound like a tool bag, but because it'll make me look more cut, like, to be quite frank, it's just gonna make me look more cut. You'll see. Put it on me, give it a day, and I'll show you.
Never put on self tanner a day in my life. One of these days, just in solidarity with my guest, I might have to do that just to see what happens. I don't.
Dude, put it all over your face, put it all over your
I'm afraid it's gonna be like Rosto and Friends, where I'm accidentally gonna put on too much and then just become just like an orange person.
you
But
probably will. You probably
probably
will.
it'll be worth it though. I guess. I mean, it's worth it for the bit, I guess. But I mean, this whole year has been, completely different from where it was at. I mean, the last time I talked to you, I think, COVID was still kind of a big deal. I mean, I honestly haven't even heard the words COVID ever since I uttered them right now. Probably I hadn't heard them for like a year since then. But has your mindset or mentality changed at all in this last year? Or are you still just focused on what you were focused on before? Obviously, with school being out, has your mentality at all changed about certain things?
Yeah. I realize, like, I'm very alone. Not in a bad way, but, like,
Someone go check up on her, everyone.
oh, no, 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 it's nothing like that. It's more like, this is reality. I'm making money, I'm paying rent, I'm, doing my daily chores. Like, I look at it as a very, very, as long as I'm doing something consistent every day, I have my outlet of energy for working out. I've got competitions, which is like my passion hobby. I've got my animals. I've got, friends I see every couple weeks and they understand. And, I've got my family still, who's I'm so grateful is still alive. And like, I really have everything that I need outside of college and I've done well for myself. So I am proud of myself. I'm proud of my mindset. I think I'm definitely more mature out of school now because I have to pay my own bills. I've got to support myself completely. I don't have, my family's not here anywhere close anymore to even be a source of like, gracious support. So just adjusting to being alone mentally, emotionally, physically is a lot, but it hasn't been a bad process.
Is it hard with the dogs and cats to do anything? Because I know like you have to walk them and stuff. That's the one problem that and they get up way too damn early for me personally, in my opinion. My dog's getting up at like 4:30 and it's not a fun time. But does that affect your bodybuilding life at all? Because I have some people who their dogs are like the detriment of their life, but they love them so much that they keep them. And then I have other people who are like, oh, it doesn't bother me at all.
No, I mean, like, well, I get no, not really. Like my cat, litter box turtle stays in the thing. Taco, like, I like taking him out because at night when I get home, it's kind of just a priority at this point. It's not like a questionable or like a negotiable of like, oh, should I take my dog on a walk today? It's more like this is what you have to do to keep him happy. And so I make sure to take my dog on a walk like when I get home, whether it's 10 minutes or 30 minutes or sometimes like an hour, like we'll go on a walk. I wouldn't say 15 minutes out of my day is a detriment at all to my dog.
It's true. She put it the right way, I guess, everyone. So there is that.
Walk your dogs, you psychos.
Well, my uncle comes over like every day because he lives a mile away from us and he walks her every night. So he's the one that does that, but I'm the one that lets her out at night. Yeah, and I know our dog is a psychopath, so yeah, she needs to get her exercise in, otherwise she will be even crazier than before.
Yeah,
So
dogs can get depressed just like humans. So it's important to keep their morale up. I buy him and my cat a lot of treats and all.
do they get along or do they fight each other?
They used to, but now they like each other. They're like coexisting. It's like, when I'm gone for 8 hours in a day, 9 hours in a day, sometimes 12 hours in a day, I feel like before I got a cat, Taco was very alone. Like he didn't have anything other than just the sound of, a tank or the outside. But now with Gia, he's like, okay, even though we don't speak the same language, like we're both living here together and we're both like, doing our thing. It's like existing, and you realize there's someone else there with you.
Are you like my psychotic parents and you have one of those cameras there that you can see them at all times?
I want one so badly, but they're expensive.
We got one on top of the TV in the living room, and then we got one going into the backyard just so that we can see all the foxes and raccoons that run by at night. But yeah, oh my god, I gotta check on the baby. My mom always goes, and then yeah, she gets our dog up there, and oh wow, it's sitting in the same spot that it was sitting before. It hasn't moved since. Surprise, surprise. So
Yeah, I think about it frequently. Like I always think about it in my head. what do you call, like a POV of like how they do cameras and show footage of surveillance and what it would look like. And to be honest, I really can't imagine them doing anything that overwhelming or exciting. So, it hasn't really occurred to me and to be like, yeah, this is some money I want to spend. I want to watch my cat and dog do not shit today.
For me, it would just, yeah, if I ever got that, I'd just be depressed because I'd be like, God, I wish I had that life. You could just sit around all day and do absolutely nothing and just worry about going to the bathroom and eating. That would be a nice life.
Yeah, I would, but then you can't serve yourself. So,
That's true. I mean, there's
like, if
always rats and squirrels, whatever. Yeah, who knows?
inside,
I like one of my idiot friends who didn't have a yard. I mean, he didn't have an electric fence, and he had a doggy door. The dog would just walk out, but it was so well trained that it just wouldn't leave the house. So I don't, that's a whole different. This is now becoming a dog podcast, and I really don't care about it. Everyone, it's
yeah.
she's on for the third time. You run out of stuff to talk about after a while, so we got to bring up news. I've had a guest on for the fifth time, and we were basically just talking about surfing for like the whole podcast for that time, everyone. But yeah, that's what it is. But I mean, what is
Ask some new questions.
absolutely so? What are some things outside of bodybuilding that you like to do?
Um, I like to hang out with friends. I don't drink. I like
What?
I like to take edible treats.
Oh, okay, yeah. So does
Uh,
my older brother.
yeah, I like to cook. Cooking is super therapeutic. I write a lot in my journal now. But a lot of my time is spent on YouTube. A lot of my time is spent on YouTube,
What's your
and
go-to channels?
I like JCS, like the crime. I really like Comedy Central. Like I like looking at stand-up comedy. I listen to Michael Seeley at night. He's like a hypnosis, like sleep podcast. I watch Maddie Morrison in the morning for my stretches. Um, I like Eric the Electric just to watch him eat. A really good YouTuber I'm super into is Will Tennyson. He's like a fitness influencer, like athlete for Gymshark, I think, but he makes really entertaining videos. I'm like, I wish I could be like you.
Why don't you
And
start your own YouTube channel and do like a day in the life?
oh my god,
You're already in the gym being a personal trainer. It would be easy enough.
I know I made a whole video. I made a YouTube video, but the thing is the details. Like I want it to be a good YouTube video and it's on my phone, which is fine. Like it's definitely a good quality, I will say. It's not really that entertaining, but I'd like to at least add in order to make it more entertaining, like when I'm showing my food, maybe put like the calories at the top or the macros just so it's a little more than surface level. There's some substance to it. So
Well,
there's
send
a
it to me. I can do it. I become a pro at editing these things or
are you
editing all things
serious?
videos. Yeah, I can do it.
Over what? Send it over what email?
Yeah, probably. Yeah, and I can edit it all.
Oh my god, dude, that would be freaking dope. I've already like cut the scenes and put it all together. I just need like writing and like,
All it takes is a good thumbnail too. That's really all you need, honestly.
dude, I know. I
It
suck
could
at
be a video of you going to the bathroom, and as long as it has a good thumbnail, you'll get views.
yeah. Okay, well I'll send that to you because
Do
I
it.
would really love to post it. I just haven't gotten the guts, I guess, to do it.
Do it. I just will. I gotta warn everyone when you get started. It takes forever to become relevant at anything. I mean, there's probably a handful of people that after they post a couple of them, they become like pretty famous. Like it takes years. Like I have some guests that are starting YouTube channels, and it literally, like they're 3 years in, and they are barely, they're making like 10-20 bucks a month on YouTube and stuff. So it is not. You have to be like Mr. Beast or any of those guys to really like be like just doing that. Which by God, I wish I would have come up with that.
To make money. Like at this point, I've accepted that I'm okay with my money being sourced from like my job in real life. I don't really care to go online and try and make money because I think that honestly, well, in my opinion, it ruins a little bit of the fun. It ruins a little bit of the authenticity behind like connecting with people. Not yours really. Like the nature of yours is a
That's
little bit.
why I've never charged anyone for coming on this podcast because I didn't want it to become like that. So that's why everything's always free on this.
Yeah, I think it depends on, the nature of the account or like the business or the person. But like for me,
Yeah.
I don't know. That's just me. So I don't.
Oh,
Yeah.
this is not a full-time gig either way. Like this, I work just as hard as my full-time job, but yeah, I'm making like $200 a month on YouTube, and it's just with Patreon and all that stuff, it's probably like an extra 100, just for, so it's not livable at all. So I just do this just for the fun of it. And yeah, if I can make an extra, like 4 or 5 grand a year off of this, fine. It's more money in the bank, I guess. But yeah, so that's the one thing I could wish I could tell people is like, do not get into this thinking that it's going to be a full-time job, because you will not succeed really. Unless you're like, it's like trying to be an actor. You're one in a million.
Yeah, I've had a lot of people like be like, start an OnlyFans, and I'm like, "Fuck no."
No.
Like, here's the deal: is like,
I
I feel
started
like,
one where I posted like behind the scenes stuff and all that, and then when people realized that it wasn't just nude people, they were just like, "Oh, okay, that's whatever." And I was like, "Well, what do you expect?"
yeah, like I feel like that would be a lot of effort too. Like that would be a lot of effort to be
Uh,
taken.
one of my guests makes one of my guests that I've had on makes 50,000 a month on OnlyFans. So,
Yeah, I'm not surprised. Like you can make your bang for buck, but those pictures are there forever. That's on forever.
well, you
And
can't,
you
well, with OnlyFans, the people can't download those photos though. You have to, like, the site blocks you if you try to, like, so you'd have to literally take a photo with your phone and then use it, but you can't like physically take it.
That's true because I've looked up
That's what
certain
I've been told. So, and I haven't posted anything racy. So anyone, yeah, take all my cooking hacks and stuff like that. Yeah.
no, you can't maybe you can't download the photo, but if you take a screenshot, because I've
Yeah, oh
seen
yeah, that's
like
what I
on
meant. Yeah, like you have to take your phone and do a screenshot.
yeah, like it's just it's on there forever, and I feel like that's just not really my character. That's not really so But as many times as people ask, like, guys, let me look. The most you're gonna get is maybe an occasional booty shot from like a side or like a stage shot. Quit asking for an OnlyFans. Let me live my pure life, okay? I already know. I was thinking about this last night in the gym. I was like, I wonder how many like people, probably guys, in the past like 4 years with everything I've worn to the gym have taken photos of me in the gym. I've always wondered if like
Don't worry about that because you probably won't like what you'll.
well, see, the thing is, I never thought about it, but I was watching this guy on a machine, and he was kind of holding his phone up, and he wasn't taking a picture of me, but the image, just like that moment in time, I was like, oh, is he taking a picture of somebody? And I was like, I wonder how many people have taken photos of me in the gym. And then I've just been like, okay, maybe nobody has, maybe nobody has.
Or maybe someone has a secret database. Who knows? You never know. That's the only problem. That's the only. I wish they would tell that, like, before people try to get like big on social media. They don't tell you that, like, there's it's yeah, I would not try to make it as. That's why I post photos of just guests that I've had on, just to tag them and just to let people know that, like, here, this year is the guest I have on, because like that stuff is on there for forever, and people have saved images and stuff like that that are going to live on for forever. There's probably stuff that people have from like 20. That's why I've always said it's going to be interesting in about 40 years when all these 60-year-olds that had OnlyFans when they were in their 20s. I wonder how they feel about it then.
Exactly. But I mean, the technological world is going to change so much in the next 50 years that it's not even possible to imagine what could happen to those images. I mean, you make a valid point in the sense of like in 50 years, there's going to be so many images that are tagged on the internet that it's going to be even difficult to maybe trace it down. So there's a lot of like, future prospecting ideas of what may happen with like the photos. But overall, it's more like just the effort. Like, I got to get naked. I got to make sure I'm, this and that. And I got to, do stuff on camera that like is cool. But to me, that's a little more intimate, a little more to myself, and to look at those, like to have to scroll through photos of myself like naked all day, I think it wouldn't make me uncomfortable at all because I could stare at myself naked probably for a long time. It's more just like knowing that these are about to go on the internet and like this is me in my most intimate, vulnerable moment. It just kind of like puts me in a position of like that's a lot of effort.
Yeah, watch, YouTube will probably flag this podcast just because we said the words OnlyFans and nudity in it. Because good.
But I would rather spend my time watching like YouTube.
Oh, absolutely. Like, I watch. I do a lot of comedy stuff. Like, that I watch. That's mainly my thing.
I
Just
love comedy. I just got some Bill Burr tickets for September 10th, and I'm so hyped for it. I really like. I think I know his name is Sebastian, but I think it's
Or no, Sebastian Manicas, something like that.
uh-huh, and he's really good. Obviously Kevin Hart is pretty funny, but who is that one guy? I think his name is Tom.
Segura?
Tom Segura is really funny. But I think lately I've been watching a lot of Sebastian's content, and I've watched pretty much all of Bill Burr's stuff. Joe Rogan, like back in his time, like a few years ago, he had pretty good stand-ups. And I think Whitney Cummings is pretty funny as well. Um, so there's just like a lot of comedy, and comedy really saves me. Like when I'm sad, the like something that can really bring me out. I don't know if this is for everybody, but I love a good stand-up comedy.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, Tim Dillon is I listen to him religiously, his podcast. I love Tim Dillon, but like my parents got tickets to Eliza Schlesinger, and I was like, "Why'd you guys get tickets to her?" And we're like, "Oh, she seemed like she was famous and all that stuff and like that." And I told my dad, I was like, "She is not a comic for you. You probably shouldn't go because all she talks about is like female stuff." So it'll be fun. I love to hear what their reaction is going to be like after going to see her. But you got Bill Burr tickets. That is lucky. I have wanted to see Bill Burr live. I think he's come up here a couple times, but I don't. I was either working or I just didn't get the tickets. So, but Anthony Jeselnik is probably my go-to. I mean, anyone that could.
Jeselnik is funny as
I
fuck.
love dark humor, and I don't care how offended people get by it. Like, the darker it is, the more I like it. That's just
It's the
how I
way
am.
he comes off about it too. It's almost like he knows it's menacing, but like his nonchalant expression really does the trick. He's a good comedian.
Yep. I like that Anthony Jeselnik. So now, before we wrap things up, I gotta do the two questions that I do every single time at the end of the podcast. If you could change one thing about the health and fitness industry, or just bodybuilding in general, and everyone would go along with it, what would be one thing that you'd like to see changed?
Mm, I would like to see. I don't know what I answered last time, but I would like to see like different posing styles. For instance, women's physique posing style incorporated into bikini or like figure, and have
You gotta do
like
the front double bi for like every division. I'm sorry.
sure, exactly. That's kind of what I mean is like kind of integrating the divisions a little bit more to where you have a little more variety. And as far as like overall health for, the nation and worldwide is maybe try to stop normalizing alcohol as something to like play around with or something because it's not, and it can be addictive and just so bad for your body. So I'd probably change those two things.
Well, you said that you did a study in college about something that went on with
That's
bodybuilding. What was that
right.
about?
The bodybuilding voting system and how they do it, which is just a score system. And I was going in looking for discrepancies within the voting system, seeing if maybe one person could have won over the other, if like this small number had been changed, just manipulating data. And turns out that was not the case, and that in this sample, it had a really good outcome of no discrepancies, and everyone was pretty unanimous in a decision. And yeah, like that was pretty cool. So that was something that I did. So I wouldn't change the voting system. I don't think that hierarchy or social media hierarchy plays any part. I think that the judges solely look at the athlete for who they were the past year, the past time they've seen them, and what they, developed, and how they compare on stage, and how their physique is developed. So that's changed my perspective a lot.
That was interesting because I myself thought that, like, oh yeah, the person that has like 2 million followers against someone that has like 10,000, that might influence some of the judges. But I'm glad to hear that that isn't the case, because I was always sort of one of those things deep down that I thought might have been a deciding factor. Where it's like, oh, she could promote us even better with her. So yeah, I'm glad that you found that.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's very fair system.
And so, what show are you currently preparing for? Do you not have a show in mind? Or you're just waiting to see, or
December 10th, Battle of Texas.
God, you got to go through Thanksgiving again on a prep? I don't know how you guys do it.
Dude, at this point, I've just accepted it for what it is.
That's true. It's true. You gotta have that. So when we do have you on a year from now, where'd you like to be at in your bodybuilding journey? Where'd you like to be at in your overall life? What are some goals you'd like to have achieved a year from now?
I would like to have a pro card. I would like to live in a different apartment. I would like to really just make enough money. I don't expect, like last year, I might have expected more in a year because I was graduating and going through all these changes. But now I'm kind of at a point where I'm like, okay, let's get a pro card, let's continue working, save up some money, and then maybe next year, when you ask me, I'll have been stable enough out of college to be like, okay, so here's the plan. Maybe I'll go back to school. But right now, just the goal is to stay focused, keep my head on straight, and continue working for what I've been working for.
Sounds like a great plan. And as always, is there anyone that you'd like to give a shout out to before we wrap things up?
Um, Shout out to my friends who are supportive of me in this journey. You guys know who you are. And shout out to my animals for not allowing me to feel so lonely. Shout out to the Salty Donut for providing really good donuts. Shout out to Jay, my coach, for being patient with me and having very collaborative energy. And shout out to you for having me on.
Thank you. Well, lastly, this is a question that I just started asking because it just shows how good of a podcast host I am that it took me about 500 episodes to start asking it. This is a question that I think to myself every single time I have a bodybuilder on, regardless of, how many times I've talked to them or whatnot. Why do they do this to themselves? Why do they put themselves through this? I hear all these prep brain stories. I hear all this other stuff. And I'm just the human in me is just like, why do they do this to themselves? And I know that you at times even have to think that yourself, like when you're knee deep in prep and you're like, on that last round of cardio or just on that last meal and you're just like, why am I doing this? What is your why that you like to respond to that by? Because I bet, like even friends still might every once in a while just be like, Jessica, why do you do this to yourself?
Well, because if I compare my blood panel, triglycerides, my hormone panel, if I compare all these health factors to the average population, I am way ahead. I've kept myself healthy by doing this, grounded. I don't need drugs. I don't need to escape by drinking. It really just keeps me in reality, and I love to watch my body transform. I love the confidence I feel when I feel strong, when I feel lean, when I've achieved something that very little people can say they've achieved with their physical body. I mean, it's a very physical lifestyle. It's not necessarily like I'm solving problems all day. I'm being active and I'm taking initiative with what I'm eating. So why do I do it? Because I want to live a long life. And of course, there's an extreme in bodybuilding where it's like you may not live a long life, but I have figured out a way to live a long life with it, and I will continue doing that and being a good influence to my family and having good influences around me and watching myself be sexy as well.
Watch next year there'll be a Jessica Schechter local bodybuilder dead at whatever age or something like that, and I'll just be like, well,
Dude,
it happens. It
it
happens.
would be it wouldn't be it would be from something
Oh
like
yeah.
like food
Oh
poisoning. It
yeah.
wouldn't be like I ate
You
myself to death.
undercooked that damn pizza.
I overcooked that damn pizza.
I do that with chicken because I had a bad experience with. Oh, okay. I see the dog needs your attention, so we're gonna wrap it up,
No,
everyone. But
he's a squirrel.
oh,
He
okay.
sees a squirrel
That damn
out there,
squirrels.
but yeah, he
But
sees a
again,
squirrel, baby. Anyway.
everyone, Jessica, it's always a delight to talk to you and to hear how you're doing. You're one of my favorite guests to talk to, and I can't wait to have you on again. And everyone, go and check out her Instagram page. She won't be on there that much, but hey, more power to her for that. I wish I could say the same myself. But again, everyone, this is Ryan Johnson, DD on the spot, signing off. Have a great day, everyone.
Thank you so much. Bye.